Hello everybody, welcome back to James Lawrence Allcott Chat. Why have I got these on? One of the worst Premier League transfers in Premier League history comes to a close as Romelu Lukaku is now on his way to Inter Milan. This is honestly fascinatingly bad and speaks on a few things, right? So we're going to talk about the fact that if this is the worst transfer in Premier League history, we're going to talk about Chelsea's reputation in all of this, Lukaku's legacy within this as well, which I generally vomit at the thought of the word legacy, but I think it's worth talking about here. The fact that this is a loan move and the sort of kind of situation that leaves Chelsea. And then the broader thoughts on it, really, I guess, like the striker's curse at Chelsea. It's just absolutely astonishing how bad Chelsea seem to be in terms of signing strikers. And people now fly into the comments and go, well, you're a QPR fan, blah, 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 blah. Feel free. You know, if that's what you need, if you need that, go for it. But the striker's curse is there, man. Okay, Drogba, got it. Yeah, he was good. But like in terms of proper lead the line strikers, time and again, the list is outrageous. Sutton, Werner, Morata. Who else we got? Torres, Higuain. And Lukaku is right up at the top of it. Right, let's have a look at the deal in full, first and foremost. So you got Fabrizio dropping bombs as ever. Returns to Inter, here we go, and confirmed, full agreement, now signed on a loan deal until 2023. 8 million loan fee plus add-ons. Lukaku's salary will be around 8 million. No buy option or obligation clause, so they don't have to buy the guy. They don't need to buy this guy. Add-ons related to team performances, fine. And that picture says a hell of a lot, doesn't it? I would not do that face if I was Lukaku. But ultimately, actually, he's probably got to just own it now. That kit, by the way, is fantastic. But he kind of will have to own it as in like, oh shit, yeah, I did it. I had to go back. No. You moved. You didn't need to move in the first place. You moved through not ego, but a level of ambition. Let's say that, right? And now you're going to do that face. I'm not having it, I'll be honest. We can talk about Lukaku in a bit more detail in a second. So Chelsea and Inter Milan have reached an agreement, loan agreement. He'll on his way back to San Siro. Rejoined Chelsea, of course, for a record fee last summer. Scored just 8 Premier League goals. He'll have the medical next week. It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you think of that first game when he went, and it was the Arsenal game, and he absolutely bullied Arsenal. Fast forward to what's transpired here. 97.5 million. Phenomenal. First of all, so Chelsea, this is a sort of reputation changer for me, in my mind. I don't know if you guys feel the same. Now, there have been loads of, boobs in terms of transfers over the years. But Chelsea spend a lot of money, so you kind of allow it. And overall, you think of Chelsea as a very well-run club. But maybe when I'm thinking about that, actually my focus is clearly on the youth and how many fantastic youth players they're able to bring through Cobham and have done. Obviously, the loan market and how they use that and bring players through, and look at the England squad, the amount of players that have gone through Cobham. So when I think of that, I generally think of Chelsea as a well-run club. And from that point of view, they certainly are. But for me, certainly in my mind, this is the sort of flip of the switch here in terms of Chelsea as a team, in terms of their recruitment and the players that they buy. And I think it's been there in front of me all along, and I've certainly been wrong with this one, because there are so many players that Chelsea have bought unnecessarily who've been terrible. And I think this is the one, though, where it's like, oh, yeah. No, Chelsea are bad in the transfer market. Chelsea are really bad in the transfer market. Like Bakayoko, Drinkwater, Ross Barkley, all unnecessary signings. Timo Werner. Even the likes, Pulisic, has it worked? Not really. Ziyech now wants to leave. The sort of revolving door of it all is actually has been really eye-opening now that I see it after this Lukaku transfer. And Gravenskaya is on her way out, and actually she leaves with a very different reputation actually now. Whereas like initially it was like, oh no, she gets the deals done, and she has done that, sure. But there are some real mistakes within this. Real mistakes within this. Two clubs agree loan move totaling 10.3 million, made up of a loan fee of 6.9 million pounds plus 3.4 million in bonuses. So they might not even get to that. Who knows? Has agreed a 30% pay cut to smooth his exit, and that's interesting as well. Chelsea were like as over a barrel as they can be, which leads me on to a different talking point, really, which is the fact that Chelsea, and I'm just going to say this once because I don't need to be banging this drum all the time. I think you guys know how I feel about it. And it's not about Chelsea. It's about football in general. The fact that a football club can spend that kind of money, make that kind of loss, and it just be embarrassing says a lot about football and how far away it's getting away from us. Like the fact that this shouldn't be crippling and the fact that this shouldn't be even an option. You go, well, no, you've spent 97 million on someone, so you're going to have to make it work. The fact that they can go, oh, it's not really worked for us, is it? Yeah, all right, let him go then. What? But they can't afford him because, there's so much money in football. Well, you just get it done. Just get it done so we can get on with it. And again, that strategy from Todd Bowley, he's coming in and he goes, right, let's get this done. He doesn't want to be here. We don't want him here. The manager doesn't want him here. The fans certainly don't want him here. So let's just get him out the door as soon as possible. There's nothing wrong with that. I completely understand that. But broadly speaking, the fact that this is available and we will not be talking about this very soon is phenomenal. Had a breakthrough on Tuesday night after several rounds of negotiations over the past few weeks because Inter Milan had them over a barrel, really. They could have probably got that down even more, And moving on to Lukaku now, in terms of being one of the worst transfers of all time, I actually put it on Twitter. And when you run through the list, and thank you everyone who wrote and put forward someone, and obviously some people will be doing it tongue-in-cheek, but no one gets anywhere near Lukaku in terms of an absolute mess of a transfer. Like Maguire, but that is a very close second. No. Maguire's been there. Like, I know he's not had a good season this year, but he's been incredibly useful. I know he's cost a lot, and I know he's a defender, but doesn't get anywhere near this. Kepa has been a really bad one, and that's another one you can add to the list. Ali Dia, that's a different generation, different time. Surely Pogba, left on a free, spent 90 odds to get him back, left on a free again. No, you got 6 years out of him. So as I run through all of these, Danny Drinkwater was terrible, another Chelsea one. But again, not to the same tune of 97 odd million. Absolutely incredible. And let me know in the comments below if there's anyone that can get anywhere near El Hadji Diouf. No, not the same cash, not the same, in terms of money in the modern game or in any game, it shouldn't be costing that much. Andy Carroll was pretty bad, but no one's as bad as this. It is the worst transfer I've ever seen because it also impacted the rest of the team. It hurt the rest of the season. He offered nothing. And this ended a long time ago, actually. This ended when he said this. This Sky interview will affect the way that people think and talk about Lukaku forever. Can he spin it to make it, Inter was always the love of my life? Like in Italy, Inter Milan fans, will they look at him different? Can he kind of solve that? Yeah, possibly. And ultimately, who cares? As long as he's happy, do what you got to do, Romelu. Because actually, I like him. I do like him. But this interview was one of the most stupid mistakes I think I've ever seen. And he said, I really hope in the depths of my heart to return to Inter. And it's the second part. Not at the end of my career, but still at a good level to hopefully win more. As soon as those words left his mouth, it was over. Because you don't recover from that. Which makes you think... Because also the other thing, people say stuff. People say stuff via peer pressure. They say it through emotional blackmail, which is what he might have been doing. I think he's actually, he's more sensitive than people kind of give him credit for. He does care. He cares about himself. He cares about the people around him. And, those are what strikers are like as well. And the emotional blackmail of kind of being in Italy, trying to resolve that because he loved that group of fans and knowing that he wanted to go back one day, also being a little bit annoyed and riled up by the fact that it hadn't gone perfectly at Chelsea initially, has led him to say that sentence. And you can't say that sentence. And his Premier League legacy as well, which again, I really want to vomit when I say things like this, and I'm sorry. But despite doing brilliantly at West Brom, brilliantly at Everton, and actually not that bad at Man United, him looking to come back that last time, again, it was something, he's quite an emotional guy. These are all emotional decisions, right? And his return was like, well, now I've got unfinished business here. I love Drogba. I want to do it right at Chelsea. I want to prove that I can do it. I want to prove I can do it at the highest level in the Premier League. And we all bought it. And there's no doubt he's a wonderful, wonderful player, but he will not return to the Premier League. It just won't happen again. And with that, will be this sort of, stain on his reputation, that he kind of, this idea that he couldn't do it in the Premier League, despite actually scoring quite a lot of goals in the Premier League. But I've got to say, I'm disappointed that he's not really fought it out here. I would expect him to go, well, no, look, okay, I get it. The first year has not really worked for me, but let's get this right. Let's solve this, and I can prove it to you. But he obviously didn't want to do that, and they wanted to get it done. They wanted to get it done quickly. He will now go back to Serie A. This will be a easier life in terms of the pressure that will be on him, although there will be a renewed pressure because he kind of went and came back. Where there isn't pressure is for Inter Milan, who don't have to buy him. So it's an absolute win-win for them, and could be quite a precarious year for Chelsea. Again, they have so much money, it doesn't really matter, but precarious in the fact that you might have someone where Inter Milan, he comes back to Inter Milan, and be it one, Inter Milan don't want to buy him after the next year. Two, they'll just go, yeah, let's do the loan move again. And that's, that's going to occur for the next 4 years of his contract or whatever it is. Or three, they go, and actually, you're right, just take him back. And then Chelsea got a player that they don't really want to have. Maybe that changes, but, Chelsea changes so quickly. And the manager, if that changes, that it might be someone who loves Lukaku, and things change. But I can't see him coming back to the Premier League. I think Inter Milan have done really, really well out of this. And actually, the final question for you guys is, now what? Will Chelsea actually be better by the end of this season, now that this has kind of been pushed out of the way? There's the likes of Dembele, Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus, all linked with the club. I think a few light links with Lewandowski as well, who would be a really, really good fit, of course, for Chelsea. Raheem Sterling as well. So a lot of moves to be made there for Chelsea. But will Chelsea be in a better place come August now that this is done? Let me know in the comments below, because I think it's one on the face of it. Going into last season, we were like, and I was like, nah, he could be the missing piece here. We were wrong for several different reasons. But in terms of getting Chelsea back to where they want to be, up alongside the Liverpools and the Man Cities, and being as dominant as they want to be as well, how far away are Chelsea right now? And if you're a Chelsea fan, let me know if you're worried about the current situation, or you're happy with the squad. Is it one of those where actually this doesn't look as bad as it feels right now? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button as well, and I'll see you soon.